Hey there! How's everyone doing? We're happy to have you all here from around the world. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the family. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Things are getting tense. There are growing fears about direct Pakistani involvement in this war, and concerns about China stepping in as well. Netanyahu's pushing hard for regime change, even going as far as targeting Iran's supreme leader. Russia's political stance has remained firm. President Putin had a phone call with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, and it seems the tone between them was pretty intense. Even after the call, Putin continues to blame Netanyahu for escalating the conflict. Iranian missiles managed to bypass all of Israel's previous defense systems, to the point where Israel's high-tech defense systems mistakenly fired at each other. Iran has made it clear what's coming next won't be good. The countdown has begun. Meanwhile, Netanyahu described the situation as sad and bitter. China has sent military shipments to Tehran, and Tel Aviv is warning of an impending nuclear disaster. Venezuela and Pakistan have voiced their support for Iran, while India has announced its backing of Tel Aviv. Israel admitted that Pakistan's involvement threw all their calculations off. Iran claims it has arrested a Mossad spy network inside the country. Meanwhile, a British F-35 fighter jet had to land in India after intercepting Iranian missiles. Netanyahu claimed Iran was planning to send nuclear weapons to its allies, especially the Houthis in Yemen. Iranian missiles also destroyed the Weizmann Institute for Nuclear Studies in Tel Aviv. In response, the Israeli military bombed Tehran and Shiraz, while Iran and the Houthis launched a massive missile barrage on Tel Aviv. Israel also suffered a cyber attack that crippled its air defenses. Netanyahu later announced the assassination of the Iranian intelligence chief and his deputy. Iran responded by bombing Ben Gurion Airport, and Israel thanked Jordan's king for his efforts to mediate. Tehran issued a warning to Israelis saying, "Leave now. Soon there will be no place left to live." The Taliban also threatened to join Iran if the United States gets involved. The situation is spiraling out of control. Missiles are raining down on Tel Aviv. Israeli warplanes are flying non-stop, and honestly, the war is expanding fast. Both sides are raising the stakes. According to Reuters, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Isaac Herzog described this morning as difficult and heartbreaking, after heavy casualties in Bat Yam, Tamar, and other cities. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said the Iranian response was a necessary punishment, condemning Israel's attacks on civilian homes and peaceful nuclear sites. Tehran also slammed French President Emmanuel Macron's statements on Iran's nuclear program, calling them hypocritical. Iran's escalation is ongoing. The Foreign Ministry spokeswoman said the retaliation would continue as long as needed. China confirmed it had sent its first military shipment to Iran, saying the attack on a peaceful nuclear facility crossed a red line. Meanwhile, Israel's military issued warnings to evacuate Iranian nuclear sites and weapons factories, warning of a potential nuclear catastrophe that could affect the Gulf if the Bushehr reactor is hit. Israel's military spokesperson admitted that a preemptive strike was the best option, given the country's inability to fully stop Iran's missile attacks. "The best defense is offense," he said. Venezuela and Pakistan announced full support for Iran. A Venezuelan military delegation visited the Iranian embassy in Caracas. Then, the Pakistani Senate unanimously voted to support Iran militarily. Pakistan's defense minister called for Islamic unity against what he described as Zionist aggression. According to Sky News, Israeli Channel 2 reported that China, Russia, and Pakistan are sending air shipments to Iran, believed to include missiles. Israeli military sources warned that new military aid from China and Pakistan could arrive within hours, including air defense systems and missiles that could disrupt Israel's defenses. Israel is continuing its strikes on Iranian air defenses as preparation for a possible attack on Iran's nuclear program. Though honestly, experts doubt Israel can win this war on its own. On the security front, Tasnim News reported that 2 people were arrested west of Tehran for allegedly cooperating with Mossad. Reuters also reported that several Iranian nuclear scientists were killed in a car bombing carried out electronically. According to the Washington Post, Tel Aviv suffered a major intelligence breach, with sensitive info leaked about 40 Israeli pilots who took part in attacks on Iran, including full names, locations, and aircraft types like the F-15 Ram, F-16 Sufa, and F-35 Adir. Russian news agency Sputnik said NATO surveillance planes were spotted over Turkey, tracking Iranian missiles. They identified a major intel base, Akdog, which plays a key role in Israel's early warning system, even more advanced than similar facilities in Saudi Arabia and Qatar. In a notable development, Israeli sources confirmed that a British F-35 fighter jet had to make an emergency landing in India due to fuel shortage after intercepting Iranian strikes, possibly after carrying out more than just defensive missions. In a dangerous escalation, Fox News reported Netanyahu said the attack on Iran was preemptive, aiming to stop Iran from transferring nuclear weapons to its regional allies, especially the Houthis in Yemen. He called it an existential threat to Gulf states and international shipping routes. In an interview with Fox, Netanyahu also confirmed that Israel had targeted Iran's Isfahan nuclear reactor, calling it a key hub in Iran's nuclear project. The element of surprise was the key to the success of the operation, which previously included the assassination of Lebanese militia leader Hassan Nasrallah. The operation was described as part of a wider effort to dismantle Iran's regional axis. In response, Iran launched missile attacks deep into Israeli territory and announced that it had destroyed the Weizmann Institute for Nuclear and Chemical Studies, one of the most important research centers in the world. The Revolutionary Guard's leadership warned that it would use advanced missiles never deployed before. Earlier in the conflict, Iran had already fired hypersonic missiles. Iranian General Mohsen Rezaiei revealed that recent attacks inside Tehran were carried out using a small drone that had been smuggled in earlier and activated remotely from rooftops. He added that Israeli aircraft avoided flying into Iranian airspace and instead launched their missiles from over Iraq. On another front, Iranian media reported that a major strike against Tel Aviv was imminent, while Israeli outlets confirmed that Tel Aviv had already been hit with a large missile barrage from both Yemen and Iran, launched simultaneously. Things have escalated rapidly after a series of intense Israeli airstrikes on several Iranian cities, including Tehran, Shiraz, Kermanshah, Borujerd Sakez, and Tabriz. According to Iran's foreign ministry, 73 women and children were killed in just 3 strikes on the capital. In return, Israeli Channel 2 confirmed a massive wave of missiles hitting Tel Aviv from Iran and Yemen. Yedioth Aharonoth reported that United States air defenses in Saudi Arabia had intercepted one of the missiles launched from Yemen. Israel also admitted that its air defense system was hit by a cyber attack, which caused a failure in early warning systems. As a result, many civilians weren't warned in time, and casualties were reported in Haifa due to delays in reaching shelters. In a major development, Prime Minister Netanyahu announced the assassination of the head of Iranian Revolutionary Guard intelligence and his deputy in what he called a high-value strike, part of a broader Israeli operation targeting strategic Iranian assets. In related news, the Jordanian army declared a state of maximum alert and stated it would shoot down any Iranian missiles or drones violating Jordanian airspace. Israel's military spokesperson thanked Jordanian forces for helping intercept Iranian threats. Meanwhile, Iranian forces issued a stern warning to Israeli settlers, urging them to leave the occupied territories, immediately saying they would no longer be livable, according to Iran's Tasnim news agency. In another major military update, former Revolutionary Guard commander Mohsen Rezaiei revealed that Iran used missiles with warheads weighing up to 1.5 tons and emphasized that Iran still hadn't unleashed its full power. On the diplomatic front, the Prime Minister of Cyprus claimed that Iran had asked him to pass a message to Tel Aviv, though Iran's foreign ministry denied sending any messages through intermediaries. Amid all this escalation, U.S. President Donald Trump reaffirmed his full support for Tel Aviv, expressing hope that a deal could eventually be reached between the two sides. Back in Iran, security forces announced the seizure of equipment from 23 drones, 2 grams of explosives, and the arrest of Mossad-linked individuals in Tehran's Fashafuya district. A high-ranking spy was also captured trying to flee from Baneh. Tasnim News reported that Iranian air defenses successfully thwarted Israeli attacks on rail infrastructure in Bustanabad and Marand. In politics, the Pakistani Senate unanimously voted to support Tehran against Tel Aviv, following strong statements from Pakistan's defense minister. On the other hand, India warned that it would back Tel Aviv if Pakistan intervened militarily in support of Iran. At the same time, Iranian sources warned of worsening domestic security unless a state of emergency was declared and Ba'athi forces were deployed, amid growing fears of intensified foreign spy activity within Iran. On the resistance front, the Houthis declared full support for Iran and said they had fired missiles toward Tel Aviv. Iraq's Islamic resistance also vowed not to remain silent in the face of Israeli aggression, warning that any support for Tel Aviv would put American interests in the region at risk, as reported by Reuters. The Taliban also issued a warning, saying it would take action if the U.S.-led coalition gets involved in the war. Meanwhile, Ukrainian media reported that 5 Ukrainian soldiers were killed during Iran's missile attacks on Tel Aviv. Iranian official Javad Larijani warned that if Iran's oil facilities were heavily damaged, Iran would not allow any other regional country to export oil. Inside Israel, the government extended its state of emergency through July, amid the ongoing military escalation with Iran, after intercepting 3 missiles over Tel Aviv. Yedioth Aharonoth reported that Israeli authorities had already received around 12,000 damage compensation claims due to the widespread destruction caused by the recent Iranian attacks across the country. The Ministry of Finance is now holding intense discussions on how to manage the national budget, given the massive cost of maintaining the defense system and the severe economic fallout, with near total paralysis in several key sectors. In the negotiations, former U.S. President Donald Trump revealed that Russian President Vladimir Putin had offered to mediate between Tel Aviv and Iran to end the war. Trump welcomed Putin's initiative,